Yo, this is a story from Brian Doyle, Children and Other Wild Animals. I don't know how to put that up so you can see it without flipping it. But this is a story I like called The Brilliant Floor. There was a girl named Linda in my first grade class at St. John Vianney School in New York. She was shy and tall. She sat in front of me in the first row. We sat in alphabetical order so that Accopardo, Accopardo, was first seat, first row, and Wyszynski was fifth row, last seat. It was the easiest way for Sister Marie. She was always shy and tall. She was also shy and tall. She was calm and tender and firm and maybe 20 years old. Most of us were 6 years old, but 4 of us were 5. Linda and I were among the 5s. The 6s looked down on us as soon as they discovered we were 5. They discovered this within the first week of school, and after that there were the 6s and then there were the 5s. Why that should matter is a puzzle, but it did. One day, after a particularly turbulent recess in the playground during which all 4 of the 5s had suffered some indignity from the 6s, we trooped back into our classroom. In Sister Marie's class, you were expected to carry the detritus of your lunch back to your desk so that she could be sure that you had indeed taken sustenance. But this day, Sister noticed that Linda's lunchbox was empty. No sandwich wrapper, no cookie crumbs, no apple cores. Sister inquired. Linda sat mute. Sister pressed gently, leaning down to Linda at her tiny desk. Linda covered her face with her hands and wept. Oh, Sister realized that Linda had been robbed of her lunch by the 6s and had not eaten at all and had been humiliated by the theft and was more humiliated now by public revelation. And Sister straightened up and stared at each of the 6s, her face unreadable, but just as she began to speak, Linda sobbed even harder. And a rill of urine trickled from the back of her seat, and she pooled on the floor between the first and second rows. For a moment there was a ruckus that some children shouted and leapt away from the pool, but then Sister said, "Silence!" Seats, very firmly indeed, not shouting, but so firmly that everyone sat down in silence. And then she appointed Megan to lead Linda to the girls' room and then to the school nurse. Megan held out her arm just like a gentleman does in old movies, and Linda took her arm, and they stepped over the puddle and left the room. You could hear Linda sobbing all the way down the hall. The best reason we have schools, I think, is to learn things for which we do not have words or equations. All teachers admit that their students will remember very little, if anything, of the curriculum they were taught. In the end, what teachers really do is offer context, manners of approach, and the subtle suggestion that a cheerful humility before all problems of every sort is the only way toward useful grapple, let alone solution. What teachers really teach, it seems to me, is not a subject, but ways to be. A poor teacher teaches one way, and a fine teacher teaches many, some of which may be, to your amazement and relief, ways for you, the student, to open, to navigate, perhaps to soar. Sister Marie was a fine teacher. She sat silently for a long moment after Linda left and then sister sent a boy to the boys' room and a girl to the girls' room to get all the paper towels they could carry. They came back with 1,000,000 paper towels. Sister gave each one of the sixes a handful of towels and then mopped up the puddle one by one. They mopped up the puddle one by one in alphabetical order by rows. They did this silently. When they were finished, Sister handed each of the remaining fives a handful of towels also, and we all knelt and scrubbed the brilliant floor. No one said a word. The sixes then collected our paper towels and put them in the trash. A little while later, Linda and Megan came back and sat down, and we started into arithmetic. I never forgot this lesson, and I would bet that no one there that day ever did either, neither the sixes nor the fives. That's the end of the story. Good to see. Hope you enjoy it and get a chance to read Brian Doyle's books. He's just a great writer. Unfortunately, he died too soon and somewhere in his 50s, but he's got a lot of great books and wonderful naturalists, so you should look him up. Doyle. All right, take care now.